Alrighty everyone, good morning and welcome back to the Gluttony Devcom. I believe this is episode 6 and we just finished doing Gray and Light Gray. So Light Gray, if you don't remember, it gave us poison immunity, and going into this next area, it's a poison swamp with 2 wolves in the castle. I added this just because it was I needed some way to block off this area from being accessed too early, and since it was a swamp, it was thematically appropriate to add poison to this area. And this area features one of the only custom textured blocks in this map, and it's the green glazed terracotta. And that's because the castle is like covered in like the roofs and some of the block var. There is green glazed terracotta, and that it literally was kind of just straight up green glazed terracotta at first, and then people were judging me for using green glazed terracotta in private. So oh yeah, that's a trap right there, the string on carpet, the classic. You just step on it and it just, you fall in it. I don't think it really kills anyone, because at this point you probably have good enough gear to survive the fall. But yeah. The green glazed terracotta was getting a bit of judgment, so the block that it's still green glazed terracotta, but I just retextured it. It is a mossy cobblestone block with a gold block overlaid over it, and with a hue shifted gold block overlaid over it. It's like a dark green, so now it looks a little bit more normal. It did look a bit deranged with the normal green glazed terracotta, but I kind of dug it. And in this area is where we're definitely going to start getting introduced to more higher tier iron chests, because we're already in the 3rd area of iron tier at this point. In previous areas, after like 3 dungeons, you can probably expect to move on to the next tier, but this the iron tier stretched out pretty thin in this map across a few areas, because the commonly diamond tier is going to be the last 3 areas. So we have to stretch it all the way from gray, light gray, cyan, purple, brown, and blue. We'll mostly have iron gear. So that's why we're still rocking iron, and we will be rocking iron for a really long time, because the diamond chests that we might run into will probably not even give us that good of gear. And we're getting shot by something, and I can't even really see it. It looks like it's this pillager guy. And this area's mob roster is mainly pillagers and vindicators. So we popped the aviatic unique to get our 3 minutes of haste. It's a universally good item across the entire map, because it's pretty much the few sources of haste, and it's just infinite and soulbound and awesome. Looks like that's where the spawner is. So yeah, this area very commonly has the lunge vindicators and the pillagers, but the pillagers have flame. They used to not be that threatening, but I think they might have power now, which I don't 100% remember. It has been a while, but I remember in the early days of this map, it was pretty underwhelming, the pillagers. So, because I think they come with fireworks, or they're supposed to come with fireworks, and the fireworks don't really even do that much. So now the arrows also are pretty threatening with the flame and such. And yeah, we have Storm. I'll go ahead and just show what Storm is on our axe. I think we've had Storm, but it looks bigger now, and I think it's because we have an enchant called Amplitude. I'll show that as well, which is increasing the size of stuff that casts AoE attacks. And I think we also have Quake. I think Quake is the one I'm thinking of, so I'm gonna also put Quake here. It's making it so whenever we get a kill, it's casting a big ol' AoE on the ground, which is pretty good. I don't know if it's guaranteed or what. And here is a unique. We're not gonna open it here because it's an ice block that takes 5 minutes to eat, as you can see. But when you do finish eating it, you actually you get this item, which is it's pretty good if you're poor, because it has diversion, which does this, which makes mobs forcibly aggro to it instead of you, which is useful. It also has regen, and it's also just like a decent piece in general. It's good if you're poor and got nothing else, because it's soulbound, like a lot of the unique items. Rock and Red made this alongside a lot of the unique items. But I made the mostly data pack heavy items that are early game, and Rock and Red made the rest. But yeah, here we approach the castle. This is the only real 2-wall dungeon, but yeah, as you can see, you probably can see them in the air. There's this grid of spawners. These are Netherite Axe Vex spawners, because I didn't really like how people could just bridge across. They kind of just can bridge across, but I probably should have just used the moving piston block that I used in whatchamacallit, in around the Giga lava ball of light gray, because when people see this grid of spawners, they are often tempted to tackle them, but they can't. They're covered in barriers. It's not possible, and then they regret their mistake because it's Vexes with 64 follow range, and yeah, they will come for you, and they will find you. It's pretty brutal if you activate it. You can if you've seen the Gluttony playthrough that I do with a British man, you can see what happens when you set off those Vex spawners, and because they're also at the bottom of Grey Wool as well, because I didn't want people going down there. But yeah, it would have definitely been a better solution to use the moving piston blocks, because that block prevents people from bridging, and that way you kind of have to either go around and figure out the borders of the invisible wall, which is tedious enough in my opinion, or just do it the normal way. But from what I've seen, it does work. People are successfully discouraged from tackling those spawners. People try to like blow them up and stuff, but they are encased in barriers, and people do figure out that they're covered in barriers. This chest right here, by the way, is a high tier iron chest. You can probably tell by the fact that it has 5 items in it, and each one of those items is pretty much guaranteed to be enchanted, and much more likely to be high enchanted. And it's very scary introducing these better and better items to the player, because the enchants matter a lot in this map, the quality of the enchants you're using. So it's pretty dangerous how powerful the player can get, for sure. We're way past the point of being too powerful, but again, I did decrease the maximum power of defensive enchants, like all the protections. And you can see right here, we actually made a massive mistake. We put an enchant called Ricochet on our bow, which I thought would be smart, but what it does is it makes the arrow bounce off of walls, which isn't bad in theory, but it's really bad when the hitbox detection of the arrow bounces off of things where it really shouldn't. Like, for example, if you're shooting at a slab or a trapdoor, you can't really shoot through it like you normally could, because it wants to bounce off of it. And another really bad thing in this map that the enchant does is it bounces off of target blocks. So if you're trying to shoot a gas tower with a ricochet bow, it's not gonna happen, because it'll bounce off the target block without powering the target block, so the TNT will never go off. So we find a workaround for that later. But yeah, if you ever see a ricochet bow in this map, I would highly recommend against it. It'd be one thing if you got like a bonus for like successfully bouncing it off of walls, but there is no reason to bounce your arrow off of a wall unless it's like around a corner. And like, even if you were even to actually execute it properly, and we break this TNT minecart, but it falls into water, or it falls too low, so it cannot. And look at this, we're trying to shoot this damn like, he's bouncing off of the slab. It's so annoying, the enchant. We'll go ahead and just pop that TNT minecart. I'm pretty sure it never kills anyone, because it falls too low, or it can't activate in the water, one or the other. But I'm sure the shock factor alone makes it pretty beautiful. The Iron Sword Wither Skeletons are pretty brutal if they hit you, especially on challenge mode, because in this area, by the time you can reasonably do this area, poison doesn't do anything. So the cave spiders are simply just smaller spiders. These guys have wooden axes, the Vindicators, instead of iron axes, which is pretty big because a wooden axe only does 7 damage. So, but it is essentially the equivalent of a diamond sword vindicator, which is pretty darn powerful. But we are simply more powerful, and that's okay. But this backside was kind of rough to decorate. I did still make this area. I actually made this area in 2 sittings. One was for the top castle, and the second one was for the bottom castle. I wasn't really sure if I was gonna want to make it a 2-wall dungeon, but I kind of ran out of options because the next area, I should say, after this area is like the penultimate one before the final section, the Citadels, and this is pretty dangerous. We almost died there. There's just a bunch of bad stuff in our face, but we live because we have extra health and a lot of pretty decent defensive enchants. They definitely aren't enough to save us from too many consecutive mistakes, but they get the job done. And here, our Quake is capable of chaining across multiple mobs into an infinite amount of mobs. I'd probably wager, because we have strength, which is very good. The structure was made pretty haphazardly. Like, each wall segment was just one wall that I just kind of copied and stacked over each other. But I made the hill that it's embedded in first, and then I just worked around it, because I did kind of want the castle inside of a hill sort of deal. It definitely doesn't look great, but it looks good enough in my opinion. If any decent, like good builder will be able to identify the massive copy paste flaws with the structure, but it gets the job done. And it's not like this map is like intending to be the most beautifully. Oh my god, that was brutal. It looks like if you shoot a ricochet arrow through scaffolding, it freaks the fuck out. But that's okay. So we go ahead and do the top section first, since chronologically that is the correct wool order. But we shouldn't run into the Vindicator problem from the other episode, where the lunging Vindicator will stop the game, because we reduced the max command chain length back down to somewhere around normalcy, with like 70k. But yeah, the inside of the structure it's really not that crazy. It's just kind of vertical parts with a bit of a more challenging mob roster, but there's no lava like there was. Like, I definitely think the levels of the areas, like the dungeons themselves, excluding the mobs, if you take out the mobs, these areas are actually easier than the early game areas. The layouts, there's a lot less threatening verticality. Like, you won't really get knocked off of anything major. There's a lot less like lava. Like, you won't fall or wander into anything decently hazardous. It's a lot of comfortable playing ground, which is also why it's one of the areas that people actually like. Like, there is like this water over slab sort of deal, which it's pretty dangerous to fall into that, because you fall in, you cannot like place blocks comfortably out and crawl out. You have to do a bit of extra work, either mining, or you have to like mine out a little bit. Like, either mine the slabs so you can place blocks, or mine out the walls so you can crawl out. You can't just raw place blocks to get out, and on the water blocks that are on top of, that are inside of slabs, which is cool. The only real hazardous gimmick, as you can see, just like light blue, we use the checkerboard floor pattern, since it's just easy to do in area. You can just if you know your world edit, you can just paste your clipboard, and as you can see, we are lagging. We're TPS lagging, and it's not just my laptop. I'm trying to turn on the F3B pie chart, or like debug chart with that shows your TPS, and that's not the right thing, but you can see like some of our arrows are starting to lag. It's like something is clearly not right, and so I log back in. It doesn't help, and yeah, you saw that look at this chart. It's crazy. We take off this item, and suddenly the TPS chart goes back to normal, and it's 100% because of the invigorated enchant, which does it does this, which it doesn't sound that crazy in theory, because it's just increasing the amount of healing you get from healing. It's like it calculates how much you healed in like one one instance, and then it takes a fraction of that, then heals you again, which is fine. It sounds fine in theory, but it's using like this matrix multiplication things, which is like an optimized way to do it. But something is clearly going wrong with the calculations behind it that causes it to like bug out. But fortunately, you can just take off the item and put it back on to I guess kind of recalibrate it. I guess it like resets the calculator behind it, which is fine. We don't have a really decent helmet, like a very good helmet, so it's fine to use this because its base stats are good when it's not like lagging your ass off because of the absorption on kill and the boosted healing from all sources, and the extra health also doesn't hurt at all either because Cardo healing benefits more from higher health. And yeah, we're approaching the top of the hill. It is very easy to just ascend to the top of the hill through the side mountain and not even engaging with the gameplay. But you know what's new? You can do that in any map. But people, I don't think I see very many people actually deviate from the fun path that much in this map, which is kind of shocking because the base gameplay, like, people tunnel a lot less in this map than you might actually expect, which is shocking. People are like really dedicated to taking the fun path even when it's like a super brutal map, which I can appreciate as the map maker that you take the intended path, but it is just shocking to me that people don't just chicken out. But here you can see it's actually kind of cinema. After I break these spawners, I'll probably take the intended route. Actually, look, I can't shoot past this this stone brick wall because of the ricochet, thinking that it's a full block. It's crazy. And oh, I thought I was gonna pop a notch apple there, but looks like we just used one of our spare infinite normal wood apples, which is okay. That guy just insta shot me. So we break that. Go ahead and collect the spawner gem. And look at this. You go around the little obstacles, the iron bars and the tough brick walls, and stay on top of the scaffolding. That is the intended way to do it. It looks really cursed and funny, but it works. And here I plopped a little secret up here because you gotta put something on top of the hill, especially the main hill. And it's the first diamond chest that we find. It's only a normal tier diamond chest, so it's pretty unlikely that you find anything useful. But you know, armor toughness is pretty valuable, especially in a map like this, where you'll get hit by very hard-hitting mobs, like the melee mobs of this map. But we still don't really use it because I think the one we found was actually had quite a few curses on it. But ooh, that was dangerous. And right here you see it deviates. There's those slabs. There's honey blocks on top of those slabs, just like in the gray wool. Because I just love a good honey trap. Ever since I saw a YouTube short on Hoplite about it, I've just been all about it. Here we get shot off, but we just pillar up here, and it's not that dangerous. But there are spawners. These aren't Giga Gas, so they're not gonna be the end of the world. There's a pit. There's a little mini death pit. It's not like a crazy death pit. I really doubt anyone is even remotely capable of falling into it. But if you fall into it, it'll be a bit of work to get out of it. If I were to fall into it, I would probably notch apple and hopefully have a pearl on me to get out, and probably try to unstable TNT out the webs, because doing that not only clears the webs, but it probably clears out a lot of the mobs that you'll fall into there. So yeah, probably notch apple, pearl if possible, TNT, because it'll be pretty rough. You can't, like, ordinarily you could just water bucket away a million webs without much trouble, but you can't really place water in this dimension. But that's okay. So we make it to the top and get rid of these spawners. They have much higher delay than they used to, so it's like impossible to marinate these unless you're super duper slow. And we enter this little pocket here. This is actually accidentally created, I'm pretty sure, by just pasting in these towers the way I did, because it left a little gap, because I didn't make this gap, but since I pasted this wall in such a way that there was like a couple blocks behind it remaining, it just kind of left like a one wide passage behind it. I think there might be a chest behind it. If there isn't, that's also okay. Who cares? But I'm pretty sure I put a chest behind it. So we go here and bam, just unstable TNT it. And yeah, we have so much unstable TNT at this point. We have 98, and I'm pretty sure we haven't been using it that much, but we've been using it more often than I guess. And this wool right here is permanent levels. Not many people really get what that means. It just means I'm constantly setting your XP levels to be 100. It can't go above or below it. It'll just, every second, it's gonna try to set your levels to 100. And that's because I really want the player to combine a lot of things together. It is, and if repair cost was stopping you up to this point, it will no longer stop you at this point, because you no longer have to care about your levels when repairing. You only really have to care about reaching the repair cost limit of 40, because if an item reaches 40 or more repair cost, it is simply unanvilable at all. But yeah, I'm willing to hope that up to this point players have gotten a lot of gear, and they can just anvil together, and maybe, just maybe, they will have run into some good Cardo enchants that they haven't lost yet. But it's where I intend the player to concoct some powerful items together, because it is definitely possible. And as you can clearly see, it's easily possible to do it before this point. But if you somehow haven't gotten it done, now is the golden opportunity. After you eat Cyan, you have all the levels you could ever ask for to combine. And we go ahead and make our way back here to the entrance of Purple Wool. It is in this well that's in the back of the castle. I'm not gonna lie, I did a pretty bad job at indicating that there is even that this is even here. I did in retrospect add a sign at the end of the area on the connection to the next checkpoint that reminds the player that there are 2 wolves in the castle. And asked did they get them both? Yeah, and there's also the banners at checkpoints, or I guess checkpoint 4, intersection 3. Yeah, intersection 3 has the banners that indicate what wool is the area, and the banners leading to this area has both the cyan and purple banner. So if someone pays attention to that, they can use that as an indicator to see that there's 2 wolves in the Moss Castle. And hopefully people will have gotten them up to this point. I know some people kind of just completely skip this area, not because they want to, but because they don't even know that it's here. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. It's not the most interesting dungeon, to say the least. It's literally just like a big underground thing. It's kind of just a platforming area, like a 3-wide bridge area with floating platforms. It's definitely not the most super thought out dungeon of the map. Definitely one of the least thought out ones that I made, for sure. It's literally just platforms with some holes and some towers. It's and then there's just a couple layers to it, but there's definitely better designed areas than this one. It's not a bad area by any means. Like, it uses gas without towers, but I've definitely not one of my proudest works. Definitely not one of my most hated works. But I wouldn't, if I were to recreate this area, I don't even know if I would put much more effort into it, just because it is kind of just like a throwaway area. It's one of the areas that I just needed to fill the gap, because between Cyan and like the Citadels, it was kind of rough for me to figure out what I wanted to add to the what more areas did I want to add. Did I want to outsource more areas? Did I want to make more areas? And eventually I came to the conclusion, fortunately Render made a joke area that I could just kind of throw in, which is the brown wool, which we'll see in the next session, in the next episode, which was able to fill that gap. Purple was, I kind of had to make this area to fill in that gap. It's a pretty short and simpler area. It's just kind of a going down area, like platforms slowly going down. If you fall off, it's really not punishing at all. You kind of just land in water, and you can just kind of get out. You can kind of skip most of this area if you really wanted to. But since it's an easier area and there's loot, people usually do go ahead and do it because you know, it's loot with less resistance than normal. So by all means, why shouldn't they do the dungeon, you know? But it is admittedly very, very easy to skip a lot of the content here, but that's okay. It's not a huge deal, and it's not like it's a gateway for progression to future areas. But it is simply one of the areas in the map. Definitely not my favorite by any means, but it's not the worst. I would rank it pretty low though, just because of how not how bad it is, but because it is simply less interesting in the level design. Anyways, we have reached the lower part of the area. It's pretty much exactly the same. I think the only standout part of this area is that there's pretty semi-active gas threats in the area. The spawner delays on them are pretty low though, so they really will not marinate into a fun amount. And which is kind of sad, because it's kind of the only standout part of the area is the gas, but they just don't really spawn that much. Like, we spawn like a couple every once in a while. They're the baby gas as well. Oh nice, the creeper aggroed onto the skeleton and absolutely demolished it. But yeah, it's definitely a tolerable area, definitely not a hard area at all, especially in the grand scheme of all the areas, because it's very predictable what can spawn, and the only really threatening mobs are the gas, which have insanely high delays. And it doesn't help that the spawn range of them is pretty limited. So since it doesn't have very many spots to spawn, it will attempt to spawn it on quite a few spots and fail because there's not enough room. So there's actually not that much room for this gas to spawn, which causes the spawner to slow down even more. But it's okay, because this area essentially serves as a little loot trove, and it helps give the player a bunch of combining fodder for anviling purposes, which is fine. There's a lot of opportunity to get decentish gear or usable gear. So if you were doom looping up to this point, this is probably a fine area to re-catch up. That one was definitely a higher tier chest. It had 5 equipment pieces. So that is one of the upsides of this area. It is a sort of loot cache, and it's okay. Not every area needs to be the same difficulty. Not every area needs to be super hard. Not every area needs to be super easy. Not every area needs to be moderate difficulty. It can kind of swing back and forth, and that's kind of the beauty of the dynamic of a little difficulty curves. Even with like perfectly balanced gear, there should still be some swinging going on in the difficulty. And this area is definitely swinging down to the easier side, and I think it's definitely welcome to the player, because a lot of people struggle with light gray, and the fact that it swings back down to being a lot more reasonable to conquer is definitely welcome for a lot of people. People appreciate that this area is easier, and it still has a relatively different, or a more different mob roster, with the pillagers and vindicators being more common. But yeah, whoa, this is dangerous. We could have definitely gotten meleeed by one of those blazes. Do I notch here? Let's see if I notch. Nope, I don't notch. I guess that's fair. I only have 2 notches, so they're not the most free things to kind of just pop left and right. We do not have traders to buy notch apples. We did buy an extinguisher, which will essentially serve the same purpose as a notch apple, which is fire res, because this last section has a few back-to-back blaze spawners, which we completely invalidate with our extinguisher. And yeah, there's one last drop creeper alongside this gas spawner, and yeah, that's purple wool pretty much. It's a very simple area, but welcome to a lot of people because of how much easier it is and how much loot you get out of it. And looking back, it's definitely not as bad as I might describe, but it's still definitely better than a lot of very basic gameplay that I see in some CTM maps. I can't even tell if it would have been faster to mine the glass or just bomb it, but since we were under no pressure at all, it's not the end of the world that we mine the spawner. And yeah, we get 15% speed out of it. I'm very cautious about giving the player extra speed, but I think they definitely earned it, especially going to these later areas, because the later areas are going to be very brutal. So this is a trapped shortcut right here that we're about to walk into. It's a dig up. So when you dig this right above the sign, it drops a TNT minecart, and this one works. This has gotten some people. It's pretty funny. So once you get past that, I love trapping these dig up shortcuts. They're so funny with like a TNT minecart. So we go ahead and make our way all the way back to the end of Cyan. And this is the next checkpoint. It's not an intersection, it's literally just the brown wool, which we'll do next time. So plop right in front of it. I don't think there was always a checkpoint here, but I feel like there really should have been, because it's a long time until they get to the citadels. So it's appropriate that there has to be at least one checkpoint. There might have even needed to be another one, but after this brown wool, there's another area, and then the checkpoint. So here's some interesting trades. It has the self-insert of me and British Man. But yeah, that's the Gigabox. We'll start that next time. But at that checkpoint, we unlock the purchasing of a high-tier iron chest, because in checkpoint 4, we could only buy the tier 3 normal chests. And yeah, that's all, I guess. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.